Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, translated by Swami Prabhavananda and Christopher Isherwood, with an introduction by Aldo Holly. It sheds light on the Gita and war, Gita and Mahabharata, the sorrow of Arjuna, the yoga of knowledge, Karma Yoga, renunciation through knowledge, the yoga of renunciation, the yoga of meditation, knowledge and experience, the way to eternal Brahman, the yoga of mysticism, divine glory, the vision of God in his universal form, the yoga of devotion, the field and its knower, the three gunas, devotion to the Supreme Spirit, divine and demoniac tendencies, three kinds of faith, the yoga of renunciation. More than 25 centuries have passed since that which has been called the perennial philosophy was first committed to writing. And in the course of those centuries, it has found expression, now partial, now complete, now in this form, now in that, again and again. At the core of the perennial philosophy, we find four fundamental doctrines. First, the phenomenal world of matter and of individualized consciousness, the world of things and animals and men and even gods, is the manifestation of a divine ground within which all material realities have their being, and apart from which they would be non-existent. Second, human beings are capable not merely of knowing about the divine ground by inference, they can also realize its existence by a direct intuition superior to discursive reasoning. Second, human beings are capable not merely of knowing about the divine ground by inference, they can also realize its existence by a direct intuition superior to discursive reasoning. This immediate knowledge unites the knower with that which is known. Third, man possesses a double nature, a phenomenal ego and an eternal self, which is the inner man, the spirit, the spark of divinity within the soul. Fourth, man's life on earth has only one end and purpose, to identify himself with his eternal self, and so to come to a unitive knowledge of the divine ground. Action rightly renounced brings freedom. Action rightly performed brings freedom. Both are better than mere shunning of action. When a man lacks lust and hatred, his renunciation does not waver. He neither longs for one thing nor loathes its opposite. The chains of his delusion are soon cast off. The wise see knowledge and action as one. They see truly. Take either path and tread it to the end. The end is the same. There, the followers of action meet the seekers after knowledge, in equal freedom. The Mahabharata is said to be the longest poem in the world. Like the Old Testament, it is not a homogeneous work, but a collection of narratives. Its central theme, as the name indicates, is the story of the descendants of King Bharat. Maha means great, and of ancient India, the land where the Bharatas lived and ruled. What is the road to heaven? The crane asked. Truthfulness. How does a man find happiness? Through right conduct. What must he subdue in order to escape grief? His mind. When is a man loved? When he is without vanity. Of all the world's wonders, which is the most wonderful? That no man, though he sees others dying tall around him, believes that he himself will die. How does one reach true religion? Not by arguments, not by scriptures and doctrines. They cannot help. The path to religion is trodden by the saints. A serene spirit accepts pleasure and pain with an even mind, and is unmoved by either. He alone is worthy of immortality. Perform every action with your heart, fixed on the Supreme Lord. Renounce attachment to the fruits. Be even tempered in success and failure, for it is this evenness of temper which is meant by yoga. Work done with anxiety about results is far inferior to work done without such anxiety, in the calm of self-surrender. Karma Yoga. Do your duty, always, but without attachment. That is how a man reaches the ultimate truth, by working without anxiety about results. Renunciation through knowledge. The path of Raja Yoga is said to have 8 steps. 1. Practice of the moral virtues. 2. Regular habits of purity, contentment, study, austerity, and self-surrender to God. 3. Posture. 4. Control of the vital energy by breathing exercises. 5. Withdrawal of the mind from sense objects. 6. Concentration. 7. Meditation. 8. Absorption in the consciousness of God. The Yoga of Renunciation. The Yoga of Meditation. Patiently, little by little, one must free himself from all mental distractions with the aid of the intelligent will. Knowledge and experience. My Prakriti is of 8-fold composition: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intellect, and ego. You must understand that behind this and distinct from it is that which is the principle of consciousness in all beings, and the source of life in all. It sustains the universe. Know this, my Prakriti united with me, the womb of all beings. I am the birth of this cosmos, its dissolution also. The way to eternal Brahman. According to Hindu mythology, the worlds are variously classified as 3, 7 or 14. The Brahmaloka, realm of Brahma, is said to be the highest. The field and its knower. Man's 10 organs of knowing and doing, man's mind also, the 5 sense objects, sound in its essence, essence of aspect, essence of order, of touch and tasting, hate and desire, and pain and pleasure, consciousness, lastly, and resolution. These with their sum which is blent in the body. These make the field with its limits and changes. Divine and demoniac tendencies. The birthright of the divine nature leads to liberation. The birthright of the demoniac nature leads to greater bondage. Men of demoniac nature know neither what they ought to do nor what they should refrain from doing. There is no truth in them, or purity, or right conduct. They maintain that the scriptures are a lie, and that the universe is not based upon a moral law, but godless, conceived in lust, and created by population without any other cause. Because they believe this in the darkness of their little minds, these degraded creatures do horrible deeds, attempting to destroy the world. They are enemies of mankind. Hell has 3 doors: lust, rage, and greed. These lead to man's ruin. Therefore, he must avoid them all. He who passes by these 3 dark doors has achieved his own salvation. He will reach the highest goal at last. 3 kinds of faith. Om Tat Sat. These 3 words designate Brahman, by whom the seers, the Vedas, and the sacrificial rites were created in ancient times. Therefore, Om is always uttered by the devotees of Brahman, as the scriptures direct, before undertaking any act of sacrifice, almsgiving, or austerity. Tat, meaning the absolute, is uttered by seekers after liberation who desire no reward for their deed. When they are about to make sacrifice or give alms or practice some austerity. Sat means goodness and existence. It also means an auspicious act. All perseverance in sacrifice, austerity, or almsgiving is Sat. All actions dedicated to Brahman are Sat. The Yoga of Renunciation. Sri Krishna. The sages tell us that renunciation means the complete giving up of all actions which are motivated by desire, and they say that non-attachment means abandonment of the fruits of action. But when a man performs an action which is sanctioned by the scriptures and does it for duty's sake only, renouncing all attachment and desire for its fruits, then his renunciation is inspired by sattva. All our action has 5 partakers, so say the scriptures that teaches wisdom to break the bondage earned by our action. Listen and learn them. First, this body, then ego, the doer, the organs of sense and the many motions of life in the body. Lastly, the devas and spirit presiding. There are 3 constituents of action: the instrument, the purpose, and the doer. The doer without desire, who does not boast of his deed, who is ardent, enduring, untouched by triumph. In failure untroubled, he is a man of sattva. Om, peace, peace, peace. The cosmology of the Gita. Prakriti is said to be composed of 3 forces known as the gunas. They are sattva, rajas, and tamas. In the physical world, sattva embodies all that is pure and fine. Rajas embodies the active principle and tamas the principle of solidity and resistance. All 3 are present in everything, but one guna always predominates. For example, sattva predominates in sunlight, rajas in an erupting volcano, and tamas in a block of granite. In the mind of man, sattva expresses itself psychologically as tranquility, purity and calmness, rajas as passion, restlessness, aggressive activity, tamas as stupidity, laziness, inertia. Sometimes one guna is predominant, sometimes another, and a man's mood and character vary accordingly. But man can cultivate any one of the gunas by his actions and thoughts and way of living. We are taught that tamas can be overcome by the cultivation of rajas and rajas by the cultivation of sattva. However, the ultimate ideal is to transcend sattva also and reach the Atman, which is above and beyond the gunas. In tracing the evolution of differentiated matter from Prakriti, we begin with Mahat, the basis of the individual intelligence. Next comes Buddhi, the faculty by which objects are distinguished and classified. Then Ahamkara, the ego sense. Ahamkara divides itself into 3 functions. 1. Manas, which receives impressions from the senses and carries them to Buddhi. 2. The 5 organs of perception: sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch, and the 5 organs of action: tongue, feet, hands, and the organs of evacuation and reproduction. And 3. The 5 tanmatras, the essences of sound, touch, aspect, taste, and smell. These subtle tanmatras, combining and recombining, produce the 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, of which the external universe is composed. The whole system may be shown diagrammatically. Thus, Prakriti, Mahat, Buddhi, Ahamkara, Manas, 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, 5 tanmatras, 5 gross elements. From the scientific point of view, man's mission is to acquire greater and greater knowledge of his relation to his environment and to gain increasing control over it, since it is really part of himself. And so Arjuna and the scientists are both asking the same question: what am I?